Have you ever felt like you're not truly living your life? Maybe you've been following the same routine, living by the expectations of others, or trying to meet external standards of success and happiness. But deep down, there's a quiet voice inside you asking, is this really who I am? Is this the life I am meant to live? Louise Hay taught us that life truly begins when we accept ourselves for who we truly are. For many of us, this journey begins with recognizing that we have been living according to the expectations of others. We might have been chasing success, approval, or validation from the world around us, without ever questioning if it's truly aligned with our deepest desires and our authentic self. Self-acceptance is at the core of everything Louise Hay taught. She believed that we cannot truly heal if we are constantly rejecting parts of ourselves. When we refuse to accept certain aspects of who we are, whether it's a personality trait, a past experience, or a current struggle, we are, in essence, rejecting our own power to change and grow. Healing begins with loving and accepting ourselves exactly as we are. Take a moment to reflect. What parts of yourself have you been rejecting? Are there traits, emotions, or desires that you feel ashamed of, or maybe even angry at? These are the very parts of you that hold the key to your healing. Every part of you deserves love. Even the parts you may consider flaws or weaknesses are important parts of your journey. When we accept these parts, we open the door to growth and transformation. Imagine, for a moment, what would happen if you truly accepted yourself without judgment? What would change if you no longer tried to meet someone else's idea of who you should be, but instead embraced who you are in this very moment? Louise Hay taught that self-love is the starting point of every meaningful change. When we love ourselves, we stop seeking approval from others because we realize that our worth is already inherent. This shift in perspective can be life-changing. By accepting yourself, you give yourself permission to stop pretending, to stop hiding parts of you that feel imperfect. You stop the endless cycle of comparison and begin to honor yourself for who you are. You begin to trust that you are enough, just as you are. Louise Hay's teachings emphasize that love and acceptance are the foundation of all healing. Without them, no real transformation can occur. It's only by stopping the fight against ourselves that we can start to experience true freedom. When you accept yourself, you open the door to healing and allow the life you deserve to unfold. So, I ask you now, what would it feel like to accept yourself exactly as you are? Can you take a step today toward embracing yourself more fully? It's time to let go of self-criticism and to start living the life that's waiting for you. True transformation begins when you choose to accept yourself fully. How often do you find yourself playing a role in life, trying to meet others' expectations while suppressing your true feelings? Louise Hay teaches us that we all wear masks to some degree. But what happens when we begin to believe that the mask is who we really are? These masks are created to help us fit in, to please others, or to avoid judgment. But in doing so, we often forget who we truly are. Imagine for a moment that you've been wearing a mask for so long that you've started to believe it's your true face. This mask could be something you put on in different situations. Maybe you're the perfect friend, the strong one at work, or the parts responsible a family member. Each mask serves a purpose, but it also keeps you from showing your true self. Louise Hay believed that we are not the masks we wear. We are the essence underneath, and true healing begins when we take off those masks and begin to live authentically. The process of self-discovery requires us to peel back these layers, to acknowledge and accept the parts of ourselves that we've hidden from others and even from ourselves. These masks are often formed in childhood, based on the feedback we receive from our family, school, and society. Over time, we create a version of ourselves that we think is acceptable, and in doing so, we lose sight of who we really are. But Louise Hay reminds us that to live a full and authentic life, we must be willing to drop the mask and embrace who we truly are. Taking off the mask doesn't mean we stop being responsible or strong. It simply means we stop pretending to be something we're not. When we begin to accept ourselves as we are, without the need for approval or validation, we give ourselves permission to be free. Self-acceptance is the key to releasing the weight of the mask we've been wearing. Think about it. How many times have you felt exhausted from playing a role or trying to meet someone else's expectations? When was the last time you let your guard down and allowed yourself to be fully authentic, without fear of judgment? Louise Hay taught that authenticity is liberating. The moment we decide to be true to ourselves, we allow for real connection, real love, and real transformation. Let's take a step back and reflect. What parts of yourself have you been hiding behind a mask? What would it feel like to take off that mask and show up fully as yourself, without the fear of rejection or criticism? You are worthy of living authentically. And when you allow yourself to be real, you open the door to profound healing and personal growth. Louise Hay emphasized that living authentically is an essential part of the healing process. When we stop hiding behind the masks we've created, we begin to accept our true selves, and in doing so, we give ourselves the power to create a life that is aligned with our deepest desires. So, I ask you, what mask have you been wearing, and what would it feel like to take it off? Can you take a step today toward living more authentically, embracing your true self? The journey to self-acceptance begins when we stop pretending and start being real with ourselves. How many of us carry the weight of the past with us every day? Maybe it's a past relationship, a mistake, or a moment in time that continues to shape how we see ourselves. Louise Hay teaches us that healing starts when we let go of the past. The memories, the wounds, and the beliefs we've held onto for so long may have served us once, but they no longer need to control our lives. Our past is not meant to define us. We are not our past mistakes, failures, or regrets. Louise Hay often said that in order to heal, we must release the negative energy we've attached to past events. This means letting go of guilt, shame, anger, and sadness that have been holding us hostage. Healing begins when we decide we are ready to release those old stories and start creating a new narrative for our lives. Think for a moment about the past experiences you keep holding on to. What memories do you replay over and over in your mind? Maybe you're still holding on to the pain of a past relationship, or you continue to blame yourself for a mistake you made years ago. Every time you revisit these memories, you are allowing them to control your present moment. Louise Hay taught us that our past does not have to define our future. When we release the negative emotions tied to those memories, we open the door for new, healthier experiences. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means releasing the hold that the past has on us, so that we can make room for healing and growth. It is about forgiving ourselves for the mistakes we've made, and forgiving others who may have hurt us. Forgiveness, as Louise Hay teaches, is a gift we give to ourselves. It frees us from the past and allows us to move forward with peace in our hearts. You may be wondering, how do I let go of something that feels so heavy? The first step is to acknowledge that the past no longer serves you. Once you accept that, you can begin to shift your focus. Start with small acts of self-love, such as saying to yourself, I release the past and choose to live in peace today. With each affirmation, you are creating a new reality where your past no longer has the power to hold you back. Louise Hay believed that healing is not about forgetting. It's about choosing to move forward with love and self-compassion. It is a decision to no longer allow past events to dictate how we feel about ourselves or how we live our lives today. When we make the decision to release the past, we make room for new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences that are aligned with our true selves. So, I ask you, what are you still holding on to from the past? How would it feel to finally release it and move forward with love, forgiveness, and self-compassion? It's time to let go of the old story and begin writing a new one, a story where you are free, healed, and whole. How often do we find ourselves holding on to guilt, regret, or shame? These emotions can weigh heavily on us, keeping us stuck in the past and preventing us from moving forward. Louise Hay often taught that self-forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools for healing. In order to truly transform our lives, we must forgive ourselves for the mistakes we've made, the choices we've regretted, and the ways we've treated ourselves and others. Self-forgiveness is not about excusing our mistakes or pretending they didn't happen. It's about releasing the negative energy we've attached to those experiences so they no longer control our lives. Louise Hay believed that holding on to guilt or regret keeps us trapped in a cycle of self-punishment. It's a barrier that prevents us from experiencing the love, joy, and peace that we deserve. Think about the times when you felt guilty or ashamed of something you've done. Perhaps you've made a mistake that you feel you can never move past. Maybe you've hurt someone, or you've hurt yourself in some way, and you can't seem to forgive yourself for it. Louise Hay taught that we cannot move forward until we release these negative emotions. We cannot heal until we let go of the past. Forgiveness doesn't mean that we forget the past or that we don't take responsibility for our actions. What it means is that we choose to stop punishing ourselves for something we can't change. Forgiveness is an act of compassion. It's a way to honor our humanity and recognize that we are all capable of growth and transformation. Start by acknowledging the pain you feel. What are the things you've been holding on to, wishing you could change or undo? Can you find the courage to look at those moments without judgment and instead offer yourself compassion and love? You are not defined by your mistakes. You are not less worthy of love, peace, and happiness because of what you've done. In the past, Louise Hay often said, "The moment you forgive yourself, you release the power that the past has over you." Forgiveness is an act of self-love. When we forgive ourselves, we allow ourselves to experience the freedom and peace that we deserve. We let go of the burden of carrying our mistakes and begin to embrace the lessons they've taught us. When we forgive ourselves, we stop the cycle of self-blame and shame. We open the door to healing and growth. Louise Hay taught that forgiveness is not only about freeing ourselves from the past, but also about reclaiming our power. It's about choosing to stop letting past mistakes define us and instead choosing to move forward with love and grace. So, I ask you, what do you need to forgive yourself for? What would it feel like to release the guilt and regret that have been holding you back? Can you begin today by offering yourself the gift of self-forgiveness? It's time to stop punishing yourself for your past and start living in the present with love and compassion for yourself. Have you ever found yourself stuck in negative thought patterns? Maybe you're constantly thinking about what could go wrong or worrying about the future. Louise Hay believed that the thoughts we think are one of the most powerful forces in our lives. What we think about ourselves, about our past, and about our future shapes how we feel and how we live. When we focus on negative thoughts, we create more negativity in our lives. It's like planting seeds of doubt, fear, and insecurity, which then grow and manifest in our reality. But Louise Hay taught us that we have the power to change our thoughts. By consciously choosing positive thoughts, we can create a life that reflects our true worth and potential. Think about how you talk to yourself. Do you criticize yourself when you make a mistake? Do you tell yourself that you're not good enough or that you'll never succeed? These negative thoughts are not only untrue, but also harmful to your well-being. Louise Hay often said that if you want to change your life, you must first change your thoughts. When you shift your mindset from negative to positive, you begin to see opportunities instead of obstacles, and you start to believe in your own power to create change. Positive thinking is not about ignoring the challenges we face. It's about approaching those challenges with a mindset of hope, possibility, and faith in ourselves. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, we are capable of handling it. Louise Hay taught that we must love ourselves enough to believe in our own abilities. When we believe that we are worthy of happiness, success, and peace, we create a reality that reflects those beliefs. A simple but powerful exercise Louise Hay recommended was to replace negative thoughts with positive affirmations. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," replace that thought with, "I am worthy of love and success." Instead of thinking, "I'll never succeed," say to yourself, "I have the power to create the life I desire." The more you repeat these affirmations, the more your mind will start to believe them, and eventually, they will become your new reality. Remember, positive thinking doesn't mean pretending that everything is perfect or ignoring your struggles. It means choosing to focus on solutions instead of problems, on possibilities instead of limitations, and on love instead of fear. Louise Hay believed that the foundation of a positive mindset is self-love. When you love yourself and trust in your own abilities, you can face any challenge with confidence and grace. So, I ask you, what are the negative thoughts you've been holding on to? Can you start replacing them with positive affirmations? What would it feel like to embrace the power of positive thinking and create a life that reflects your true potential? It's time to start thinking positively and see how it transforms your life. How often do you take a moment to appreciate what you have in your life? We are often so focused on what we don't have or what we think is wrong that we forget to acknowledge the abundance already present. Louise Hay believed that gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for transforming our lives. When we choose to focus on what we are grateful for, we shift our energy from lack to abundance, from negativity to positivity. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you for the good things in our lives. It's about cultivating a mindset of appreciation for everything we have and even for the challenges we face. Louise Hay taught that even our struggles can be a source of growth and transformation. When we begin to see every experience as a lesson and a gift, we open ourselves up to deeper healing. Start by looking at the small things in your life. It's the things you might take for granted. Maybe it's the comfort of your home, the love of a family member, or the beauty of nature. Louise Hay often encouraged us to start each day by acknowledging 3 things we are grateful for. This simple practice can shift your focus from what's missing to what's already abundant in your life. But gratitude goes beyond just being thankful for the good things. It's about embracing everything, including the challenges and setbacks, with an open heart. Louise Hay believed that every experience, even the difficult ones, holds a lesson that helps us grow. When we practice gratitude for the lessons life has taught us, we begin to understand that every part of our journey has a purpose. Think about how you feel when you focus on what you are thankful for. Does it make you feel lighter, more hopeful, and more connected to your life? Gratitude is a tool that helps us shift our perspective and see the world through the lens of abundance. When we focus on gratitude, we stop waiting for something external to change, and instead, we begin to realize that we already have everything we need to live a fulfilled and peaceful life. Louise Hay often said, "Gratitude is the most powerful healing tool we have." When we are grateful, we are telling ourselves that we are worthy of love, peace, and abundance. Gratitude is an affirmation of the goodness that already exists in our lives. It opens the door to even more blessings, and it helps us to feel connected to the universe and to our true selves. So, I ask you, what are you grateful for today? Can you take a moment to reflect on the blessings already present in your life? How would it feel to focus on gratitude every day, allowing it to transform your energy and open the door to more love, peace, and abundance? It's time to embrace the transformative power of gratitude and see how it shifts your life. Have you ever thought about the words you speak to yourself? What do you say when you look in the mirror or when you're faced with a challenge? Louise Hay taught us that the words we speak are incredibly powerful. They shape our reality, influence our emotions, and can either heal or hurt us. The thoughts and beliefs we hold about ourselves are the foundation of everything in our lives. And by using positive affirmations, we can transform our internal dialogue and begin to create a life that reflects our true worth. Affirmations are simple, positive statements that can help change the way we think about ourselves. They are not about denying the reality of our situation, but about choosing to see ourselves and our lives in a more loving and empowering way. Louise Hay's affirmations were always rooted in self-love, self-acceptance, and the belief that we are worthy of happiness, success, and peace. Start by thinking about how you talk to yourself on a daily basis. When you make a mistake, do you tell yourself that you're not good enough or that you'll never succeed? Do you criticize yourself when you feel down or when things aren't going as planned? Louise Hay often said that the way we talk to ourselves determines how we experience life. If we continue to use negative self-talk, we are reinforcing the idea that we are not worthy of the things we desire. But when we choose positive affirmations, we start to reprogram our minds and open ourselves to new possibilities. One of Louise Hay's most famous affirmations was, "I love and approve of myself." By saying this affirmation regularly, we begin to shift our mindset and start to see ourselves as worthy of love and success. Another powerful affirmation she taught was, "I'm in charge of how I feel, and today I choose happiness." This simple statement reminds us that we have control over our emotions and the power to choose how we respond to life's challenges. Affirmations work because they help us break free from limiting beliefs. When we repeat positive statements, we begin to change our self-image and the way we perceive the world. Louise Hay believed that we have the power to heal ourselves, emotionally, mentally, and physically, by changing the thoughts we think and the words we speak. The more we affirm our worth, the more we begin to see it reflected in our lives. Think about the areas of your life where you'd like to see change. What negative thoughts or beliefs do you hold about yourself that are keeping you stuck? Are there areas where you feel undeserving of success or love? Now consider replacing those thoughts with positive affirmations. Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," try saying, "I am worthy of all the good things life has to offer." Instead of saying, "I'll never succeed," say, "I have the strength and ability to achieve my goals." Louise Hay taught that affirmations are a way to remind ourselves of our truth. They help us overcome fear and doubt, and they align us with our inner power. The more we affirm our truth, the more we believe it, and when we believe in our own power, we start to create a life that reflects that belief. So I ask you, what affirmations can you begin using today to change the way you see yourself? How would it feel to speak words of love, kindness, and positivity to yourself every day? It's time to start using the power of affirmation to create the life you deserve. Have you ever found yourself stuck, knowing exactly what you need to do but feeling unsure about where to start? Maybe you've been planning and thinking about the changes you want to make, but something holds you back from taking the first step. Louise Hay often taught us that action is a vital part of the healing process. It's one thing to know we need to change, to think positively, or to love ourselves more, but it's entirely another to take those thoughts and put them into action. True transformation happens when we move from knowing to doing. It's easy to get caught in the trap of overthinking, of planning and analyzing without ever taking the first step. But Louise Hay believed that the key to personal growth and healing is taking action, no matter how small the step may be. When we begin to act in alignment with the positive changes we want to make, we begin to see the world shift around us. Each step we take brings us closer to the life we truly desire. Start with small, manageable actions. If you want to be more loving to yourself, for example, begin by giving yourself compliments throughout the day. If you want to build more self-confidence, take on a small challenge that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Louise Hay often said, "The smallest action is better than the greatest intention." It's through action that we begin to create the life we want. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to take the first step, even if it feels scary or uncertain. Often, we hesitate because we fear failure or making the wrong choice. But Louise Hay reminds us that it's through action that we learn and grow. When we take action, we begin to build momentum. Each small step brings us closer to our goals and helps us to trust ourselves more deeply. Think about the changes you want to make in your life. Maybe you want to improve your health, build better relationships, or create more financial freedom. Whatever it is, the most important thing is to take the first step. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's often through mistakes that we learn the most. Louise Hay encouraged us to embrace imperfection and remember that every step, no matter how small, is progress. You don't have to change everything at once. The key is consistency. When we take small, consistent actions every day, we each begin to create lasting change. It's the daily choices we make that shape our future. Louise Hay said that the universe responds to action. When we start acting with purpose, the world begins to reflect those intentions back to us. The more we act, the more we feel aligned with our goals and desires. So I ask you, what action can you take today to move toward the life you want? What small step can you commit to that will bring you closer to your goals? Remember, the power is in your hands. When you take action, you start the process of transformation. You don't have to have it all figured out, you just need to start. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What's one action you'll take today to transform your life? I'd love to hear from you.